isn't he getting on the stream?
Go kick his ass.
I'll try. Let's see if that worked. Apparently we are live.
Oh, sick. Someone start playing 6.
Pull it up. I actually was going to question that, how I can play music on, like, appropriate, obviously non-copyright music, because YouTube is very strict about that kind of stuff.
Is the Russian national anthem copyrighted?
I don't know, but I also don't
it would
I feel like
be.
that's an instant demonetization. If this is
That's
monetized.
false because I've watched many monetized videos with the USSR national
I'll
anthem.
post something on Instagram really fast. That
Maybe it's just like a corrupted meme version. Like if the bass is super boosted and you kind of can't tell what it is.
Yeah, or if it's like super sped up or something.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or no, you know what you do to avoid copyright? Get some anime girls dancing in the corner and play it over the footage so you can technically say that it is like a new thing. No, one of my favorite YouTubers does that. He'll do it over movie footage, and he'll play like little anime girls dancing in the corner of like Daredevil or something so he can review the movie without like getting copyrighted by Warner Brothers.
Nice. Okay.
Some of the citizens of Baz. Sorry.
Still setting up, but we had to start because we were late. I'm gonna go find my brother. And I don't think we have anybody watching right now.
Well, that's good.
We are empty. It has been a while since the last live stream. Apologize. I also apologize that I kind of jumped off the face of the planet for a long time. So, sorry, guys.
Fine. I did it too.
I'm gonna go find my brother.
Yeah.
And Lonnie, you should accept my friend request so that I can send you the meme that I'm trying to send you.
Where the friend request for Discord?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, there it is.
Did you do it?
Yes, I did.
There we go. Sent.
Yes, I love him so much.
I've watched Philosophy YouTube for a long time. He's just been like, I respectfully disagree with you type of YouTuber I watch.
Oh, that's.
And now it's like gamer time.
See, them H-Bomber guy, Big Joel, ContraPoints.
You're a Bread fan?
Yes, I am.
He thought it was Eastern Standard Time.
Issa, didn't I show you ContraPoints? I showed her video on Shane.
Oh yeah, that was a good video.
Because I'm trying to indoctrinate her into being a dirty red, like the rest of us.
Don't tell her. But yeah.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to her. I'll just be like, I'm trying to brainwash you right now, but do it with aesthetics.
I mean, it was very helpful. Just there's a lot of things I'm not ready to talk about yet.
No, that's fair. But I don't think most people will know what it's about anyway.
My two favorite Philosophy Tube videos, I think, are that's not true. My favorite Philosophy Tube videos are his cosmonaut videos, obviously.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't get over his Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro one. They're just too good.
Those were good.
The aesthetics are so like.
Oh, it's Marissa.
Yes.
Did you see her?
Say hi to Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
Hello, Marissa.
She's on here. She's not in the call. She's nannying right now, so.
Gotcha.
Gosh, I'm hungry.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, the tube thing. Don't apologize. That's right. It's so my favorite two political videos of his are his video on transphobia and the philosophy of Antifa. The philosophy of Antifa was like an 1.5-hour thing that like probably only I enjoyed. But
no, I loved it too. It's great.
But the transphobia one was really good. Did you see the Finding Beauty in Dark Times one?
Oh, I've seen every single one of his videos.
Okay.
Like, I've watched all of them at least 3 times because I have a problem. Like, you can't combine philosophy and colored lights and leftism and theater all in one and then have me not watch your videos.
Same. What was it? Oh yeah, I only asked because that was one was really new, but that was really good.
No, he made one on anti-Semitism.
That's true. He did make that. That one was like a week ago. That
Yeah.
one was also really interesting and really prevalent in all of those things. It was doubly interesting because I was in the middle of transitioning between libertarian and anarchist.
What time is it?
So it was interesting to hear the anti-Semitism is the fool's socialism bit.
Okay.
What time does it call then?
What time do you think this is gonna end?
6.
We're
right?
6. We had it scheduled to 6. You don't have to stay for the whole time. If you have to leave.
6, that's Eastern time.
6 now. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Just stay there.
Okay. Sorry.
Are
Yeah, it's not.
Are you at your
Yeah.
dad's?
Yeah, I'm at my dad's for now. We were spending the weekend, and now apparently we're going back. So, or we're gonna go back later. But he didn't. I wish he would have said something a little earlier. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Raiden.
It was really interesting watching the anti-Semitism one because it came out right in the middle of my transition from libertarian to anarchist. So hearing the like anti-Semitism is the fool's socialism and how it's all wrapped up in capitalism bit was interesting.
It's a good video. Oh, there it is. Let's see if I can.
Honestly, I feel like my values haven't changed, even though my execution of values has changed very, very drastically.
Ugh.
That's fair. See, I just came out of high school like, I hate all of this, and then I kind of dove into YouTube and into researching about politics, and I got even more angry, and then I ended up here.
Fat mood.
Yeah, I've been having an identity crisis lately. And about everything I know and everything I believe in, and it's been weird.
I feel like a lot of people have been, because simply put, our culture and our politics are built around the idea of classical liberalism, or capital L liberalism, and the idea that our government serves the people. And that, yes, it has power, but it is in direct response to the people. And people are having a hard time believing that when the government is actively shooting, shutting down speech of, and in broad daylight oppressing its people.
Right. But anyways, I think we should start the stream.
Okay.
We've been discussing some real deep stuff, and I'm like, we've been streaming for like 8 minutes already.
I thought the stream was already started. I just thought that you said that nobody was watching, so I figured.
No, nobody's watching, but it does record. So it'll still be on YouTube afterwards.
Gotcha.
So might as well, like, have something interesting for anybody who wants to come and review. Or I can put, like, in the description, skip to this time.
Right.
But, yeah, we don't really have anyone watching. I feel bad that I advertised this pretty late.
Okay.
If you want, I can do a quick advertisement thing. I posted it to my Instagram, but I didn't do
nice.
anything other than that.
Yeah, that would be helpful. If you guys want. Only if you guys want.
I don't use social media really, so
That's true.
I'm just here.
Imani,
And I can't
sorry.
turn what?
Imani's our aunt who's here to hang out.
Yep. How do you turn on your camera on your computer?
There should be a button at the bottom.
I know, but like it's on, it's saying the camera, but there's no image. Like it's very.
It's probably a software issue. The best plan I would have is it a laptop?
Yup.
Then you can't unplug it and put it back in.
Maybe you should leave and rejoin the call. Maybe that would help.
No, it's like a thing that happens with all of my what I could try to do is log on my iPad, because on my computer, no matter what I do, it just doesn't work. And that's true for anything I try. Like it won't work for my opera stuff. It won't work for music lessons if I try to do them on my computer. It's just the camera doesn't turn on. So I'll try doing it on my iPad and seeing how that works.
I'm gonna post a link to your thing, Imani, in the chat.
What thing?
The petition.
Oh, okay.
So this... Oh, I guess I would have to put it in the description because... Because otherwise nobody who reviews it is gonna see that. But there is a... I just put a link in the chat for a petition our friend Imani has.
So you said you had a basic schedule though, right?
I did. And I was gonna wait for at least some people come in, but I think people are starting to come in. So, welcome to the stream, guys. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate it, especially last minute. Hello. So, we wanted to do the stream today to help put our voices out to support. We want to show that we... Sorry. My brain is blanking out. We wanted to show that we stand and support the victims and the protests that are happening right now. There's a lot that's been happening, and it's been concerning and frightful, which we understand that. There's been a lot of positive changes too because of the protests, which we'll go over too. But really what we wanted to do is to show our support. So we've got some members here. We've got some other members that are going to come in later, but we really appreciate you guys joining us today. Do you guys have anything to add before we get into it? Because I feel like I did a bad intro.
You didn't.
Okay. Well, so far what we've got is, if you guys look into the description, we have a link to, it is the, let me pull it up myself. I'm actually going to put it up on stream. Let's see. Change window so you guys can see. Here. Okay. I got it. And let me show my screen to you guys on the Discord so you guys can see.
Okay.
Is that working?
I'm done.
If you guys have links, please share them in the group chat. That would be nice.
In the Discord chat?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, not the group chat, the Discord chat. We can go over them. Right now we're just gonna go over the link I'm going to show a little bit of them. And hopefully that helps. My Discord is being a butt. That's not what I wanted to pull up. Oh no, my computer's frozen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm back. Let's do this.
Cannot.
Oh, I think it is sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, my computer is acting very strange right now. Okay. So,
The Discord,
can you guys hear me now? Okay.
it shows up.
Okay. So, if you guys look in the description of the YouTube video,
Sorry.
I have put a link. What's going on? Oh, hey Jason. Hello. So, we've got a link in here. It's called the Black Lives Matter. Is that CARRD? Guys,
Show on the card.
Yeah.
the card.
This is what we call the card.
The card.co. So what it is, it's a bunch of links to petitions and donation links. I'm going to view some of them here. Got for the George Floyd. We've got a few for George Floyd
Thing
here.
that you can do to support the cause.
Yeah. So if you guys click on the link, you can look in here at all of the petitions to help really signing your name. It's more than enough to help, even if you can't donate money. There's a lot of good ones here. Movement for Black Lives. Justice for Young. Very nice ones. I also put another link to a petition down in the chat for anyone who wants to go and view that one. That's the good one. Like the I'm too scared to say it out loud in case YouTube didn't monetize this, but that one's a good one. And then we have the
So just so you know, you are cutting out.
Am I cutting out for you guys?
What,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, what she's trying to say that there's a lot of petition link, and you pull out a donate and a lot of protest links.
How's that? Is that better?
All that group.
Is that a little bit better? Can you hear me? Guys? No? They cannot hear me.
There you go. Now I can hear.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're having some technical difficulties, of course. That's just great. AJ, what is your profile pic?
It's my friend Ethan.
Once again, for people coming in late, the link for the card is in the description.
Yeah. So, this is the link. If you click the link in the description right now, this is where it'll take you to. It's a lot of good donation links, a lot of petition links you guys can go through. We couldn't choose just one organization to specifically go to, so this was a really great link for a bunch of the organizations and protests that you can help support. Really, anything really does help. Even if it doesn't seem like much, putting your name on a petition or donating just $1 to any of these businesses. They even have them categorized here. These are the donation links. So to the victims, to the protester, to black-owned businesses, organizations, other important places. So a lot of good ones there. Takes 5 minutes just to look through them. To help. So there are those. George Floyd Memorial Fund. It's a good one. So
as always, if you can't donate your time or money, but every little bit counts, and is obvious.
Exactly. And you have no. Sorry.
It's definitely something that needs to be get done, and it only gets done when people do it.
Even if you don't have money, there's the petitions here. Just signing your name takes 5 minutes, and it really helps. So that link is going to be in the description, the whole entire stream. Oh, I'm still getting used to how you work OBS. I have to switch the thing. Here we go. Okay. There we go.
Big thing you can do is find your local legislator and email them and tell them how concerned you are about this.
Yeah, and there are some websites where, like, I think you can, like, select your town and your city, and then you just press a bunch of buttons, and it sends an automatic email for you. Makes things faster.
They do tend to filter those out, though. If it's
that is fair.
If it's a bot email, they tend to not read them.
Yeah, emailing is a way to.
Because there's a lot of ways we can help. Right, so that link is going to be in the description the entire time. I also put a link for another petition in the comments. I'll probably add it to the description soon. So for this time, I wanted to take some time for discussion about the situation at hand. This is where we can discuss matters and discuss what's going on. Imani, you're muted.
Oh, I'm aware. I just mute myself because, like, there's a lot of... I don't have headphones. There's a lot of ambient noise.
Oh.
And also because, like, it helps audio quality if I mute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
it just looked like you were trying to talk.
Okay, no.
Okay.
It's all good.
We were discussing some good stuff earlier. About situations. Can I look at this link?
Yeah.
That's in the group
Do
chat.
you want me to stream it since your computer seems to have trouble streaming things?
Yeah, go ahead, Raiden.
Okay. Let me click on the link. Yeah, we can have those open, that's fine. Hold on, application window. Cool. 70 peaceful protesters as Washington, D.C. home to curfew. I hope that they go out there today peacefully and do not blink because our country needs them, says Rahul Dubey. I don't know, sorry.
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit.
we watch the video?
Yeah, is it in the...
Yeah.
You know, I hope that
Oh.
my 13-year-old son grows up to be just as amazing as they are, and I hope that they continue to fight, and I hope they go out there today peacefully as they did yesterday and not blink, because our country needs them and needs you and everybody more than ever right now.
Rahul, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, so that's the quote. So yeah, as the curfew struck in Washington, D.C., and Dubé, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry, 44 was praised for his quick thinking Monday night when he brought approximately 70 strangers into his home to protect them from the police outside from the curfew, who had allegedly corralled them into a holding area so they couldn't go home. So he was basically protecting them, and there was a big bang, and then there was a spray. My eyes started to burn. So they invaded and attacked him on his own private property as he was trying to defend peaceful protesters and their right to protest. So that's just one of the big examples of how our rights are being disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
And the police are not to protect them right now. Or ever, and that's what we can discuss depending on review of that.
Right, I would say, yeah, we can get a bit into that. How some of the situations that are happening right now, it seems that there's a lot of issues, especially concerning around the police force right now, which is obviously what all the protests right now are going to. I'm looking up some stuff, so...
And then we can talk about how the federal officers cleared out a peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. on the attack on Lafayette Square and sent a Black Hawk down and assaulted several reporters that were sitting there peacefully reporting, seemingly so that the president could get a photo op at a church that had the priest and the federal officers. Which I think is just the most blatant violation and dismissal that we've seen amongst all of it. Not human rights, amongst First Amendment, amongst the rights to self-govern is the best way to put that.
Right. No. Yeah. It's... There's been...
Oh, what was that, Issa? You broke up.
Oh, I'm looking at stuff and trying to talk at the same time. I was just sort of agreeing with the statement that there's a lot of violation happening. Sorry, I'm still looking.
Beyond that, there's a lot of intersectionality amongst the protests with Black Lives Matter and how that's crossing over with Pride Month and the Pride Month, the anniversary of Stonewall, which was a riot for LGBT rights, which are also civil rights, and how there was a lot of talk at the time about how there was no such thing as a pro-gay cop or somebody who was sympathetic to them. They were criminal for being who they were. We were criminal for being who we were, and we can see that equally as prevalent within the Black Lives Matter protest in different forms.
Yeah, we can also talk about how Stonewall was like one of the people who was credited as one of the people who, like, no one knows who at Stonewall, but one of the biggest activists who was there was Marsha P. Johnson, who was a Black trans woman and who was a really big supporter of both movements, and she was just really cool, and like that she existed. So like, remember,
right?
Marsha, she was pretty cool.
I think, like when you say Black Lives Matter, it's important to say like all Black lives matter. Trans Black lives matter, like all Black. You can't say Black Lives Matter if you're excluding the queer ones.
And they should also stop killing Black trans women, because that's a thing that happens a lot. And a lot of like, there's a YouTuber I like to watch named Cat Black. I don't agree with all of her politics, but I like the fact that she says what she thinks, and we share a lot in common. And she's a Black trans woman, and she was talking about experience with the movement of people like saying that she isn't Black because she's trans, or saying that like you can't be queer and Black, or you can't be trans and this, and like all of the different identities that she like inhabits. And she was talking about really weird about this, because I support Black Lives Matter. How could I not? I'm Black. Like, what affects them affects me. But I think if I was in the place of George Floyd, would anybody really do anything? And would we be marching out and demanding better trans person? And she's like, I don't think they would. And I was like, oh, good point. That's kind of messed up. Sorry, I interrupted you now.
No, you're good. I just wanted to say we should cover our bases when we say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that white lives don't matter, that any other lives don't matter. It just means that it's saying that to our police, Black lives haven't mattered, and we need to let them know that Black lives matter. It's not saying that Black lives matter more or instead or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't end at police. It's a lot of like, it's the healthcare system, it's the education system, policing, housing. Ooh, I have some stories about housing. Like it's a lot. It's in everything that we do, really. And I mean, policing is the most important one like right now, because they're shooting us, and that's really bad. But it doesn't stop there. It's like I'm glad the police brutality thing has started a conversation. I hope that conversation can extend into like, oh, mental health services and social work and healthcare, especially Black women in healthcare, because there's not a really great relationship between Black women and especially gynecology or mental health, or a lot of reproductive rights with non-white women. It doesn't end well for them. It also didn't start well for them either, but
Okay.
Intersectionality, all that jazz.
Yeah, people do like to try and separate and say like, well, I think that obviously I think that George Floyd should have justice, but I don't know how much sweeping reform is necessary, or et cetera, without realizing that none of these instances happen in a vacuum. None of them happen in a void. There's a system that like happens within the police. There's a system beyond the police that controls our entire governing system. There's a system beyond our governing system that controls our entire economics. There's a system beyond our economics that controls our culture. And you can't address each individual aspect without realizing the web and the intersectional connections to these things.
Right.
Seen a number of solutions proposed. Everything from busting police unions to make sure that they have to actually take responsibility, to the civilian councils to oversee the police, although those have been tried and in practice are usually comically toothless. There's defund the police, which is to reallocate resources to more to crime prevention as opposed to crime reaction, which would be to social services as opposed to police. I've seen abolish and replace the police with a new form of law enforcement or a new civil defense force. I've seen a complete abolishing of the police coming from mostly just anarcho-capitalists, but that's a very small group that advocates for that. And then I've seen a couple more unique reforms, like the Can't Wait idea, which is like 8 policies that are supposed to reduce police brutality by a large amount, or a number of other ideas.
Right.
So just throwing it all out there. So.
No, it's good that you're throwing it all out there. I wanted to cover that actually. Was there any links or anything we can go to try and find these organizations to support? Is it included in the card? I didn't see them.
Which organization?
Just all the movements that you listed. If people are interested in looking up those movements, or
sure, I can look for those links.
I think that would be nice.
Can't Wait is the easy one, because that one has like a very specific direct page with a clear cause and no real infighting.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I just want to be able to put stuff out there so people can look at it and see.
Yeah, and I found a quote-unquote master document that just has a bunch of different like resources, and it also has a list of books to read if you want to educate yourself, you know. So I can try to post that in the link.
Can you? That would be great. Who's playing music?
And on the...
That was my phone went off, I'm sorry. On
the front that would say that abolishing the police would be an incredible or whatever action. It's not out of the picture. Michigan has already put in a veto-proof majority. Not Michigan, sorry. Has pledged in a veto-proof majority that they abolish and replace their police with a new law enforcement agency.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like anything is completely out of the picture, but obviously there's going to be some disagreement on what that means and support of that.
As all things do, typically. Which, you know, we're all personally split on which movements we can go for, which is why we're providing a bunch of ideas for those of you guys who want to go on your own paths. Either way, it's just important to see that there's some change happening, because if there wasn't, then things would continue as they were, which is not what we want to see happen. Let's see, there was something else I was going to do. I'm posting all the links in the chat. I'll probably post them in the description too, because obviously if we're live and people who want to see them can't see them.
There should still be the option for a live chat after we're not live, to like a recall of the live chat, but...
Is there? I hope so. If not, I've got the links and I can put them in. Oh, I did pull up this video. Just some nice things. 'Cause we want to discuss about all the, obviously the negative outcomes that have been happening, because it's not, sorry, it's brain fart. We wanted to talk about some of the negative outcomes from the protests because it's important to bring them to light. But we also wanted to talk about some of the positive things, because really, even if it doesn't seem like the protests are doing much, they really are helping in some forms of ways, and there are some good people out there who are making a difference and really trying, and that I think should be brought to the light too. So I have this.
There have actually been a lot of positive results from these protests that we can see. on a very surface level, Dave Chauvin, the officer who killed George Floyd, is being charged with second-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
We can bring at him. All of his accomplices, all of the cops who were with him that charged. Obviously, Minneapolis is deciding to, their city council is going to replace their police. Everywhere you see movement of people saying that they are going to make reform or straight up abolish and replace or something along those lines. The what am I saying? Oh yeah, there's the Seattle movement, the Capitol Hill occupied protest, used to be known as CHAZ, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, that is providing an example for. It's a very tiny, like you couldn't even call it a society, but they're providing a model for what a policeless society could look like, having occupied the zone and like there aren't any police there. They're able to have a defense force that's working. They're able to have an economy that's working. They're having people picking up litter. They're having like basketball games, music, all of these things, all in the police just aren't even allowed in there right now. So
Right.
it's there's a lot of models on how things could work. And I think that there was a Colorado thing, since we're based in Colorado, there was a Colorado thing where they're planning to defund the police and put it into, put that money into social services.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, they reopened Taylor's case. I hope I pronounce her name right. Brianna's Taylor's case.
The first one,
Breonna. They opened back up her case. And we were able to reinvest $100 million into communities of color in LA. So really, even if it seems like there's not much happening, or it feels like you can't make a difference just by your voice, it really, really is making a difference. There's a lot of positive outcomes that are coming from this, which is why we want to put our voices out there too, because it's not over, and it's probably far from over, but if we keep putting our voices out there and showing that what we stand for, then maybe we can make a difference. Even if it seems like it's not much. But it's better than biting our tongues and staying silent, I think. So that's why we're here today.
We should also probably talk about the fact that there are people who deny that there's a systemic problem at all and that it is just a handful of bad apples. There's an argument to be made that not all of them are murderers, but there is a lot of evidence of a violent culture within the police that has more veteran officers trying to egg on newer officers into becoming more violent and getting their first kill or whatever. There's the statistic that 40% of police officers' families experience domestic abuse. There is ample evidence that those who try to report on police misconduct are often shamed, kicked out of, or otherwise punished by the department. In general, the police want to be they take the order more seriously than the law and are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that order in their minds from a skewed perspective of those who have the power, which is generally people with more money and generally people with lighter skin.
Right. Man. I just get so depressed hearing about that. Sorry.
What?
I was just going to say, I get so depressed all the time hearing about that.
You will get used to it eventually, but I mean, like, it is sad. It's just, I was looking up, because I'm petty, I was looking up stuff about the Chauvin, the guy who killed George Floyd. Turns out he had 18 police misconduct reports against him, including extreme aggression and shooting at civilians, and they didn't go anywhere. And his superiors weren't much better. I'm not saying, again, I get why people think when we say, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out a way to, like, word this without getting, like, angry and without losing the point. But
That's alright.
I don't think most people believe that all cops are terrible people. I really don't. I just think most people are aware, especially now, that the American system of policing is extremely to its foundation. It was founded to capture runaway slaves. It was founded on racism and violence. Why are we surprised when we, like, plant an apple tree and we get apples? Like, this isn't surprising. Like, we can see where this came from. And, like, the police have too much protection against that. Also, like, watch 13th, about the 13th Amendment, because they go way into, like, police brutality and about over policing in the 90s, and Bill Clinton being like, we're going to employ 100,000 more police officers, even though crime rates were getting lower and stuff like that, and the way that they deploy the police and mandatory sentencing. Like, the whole prison industrial complex is just shot completely. But, like, there needs to be widespread reform in that department. Basically, it has to basically become unrecognizable from what it is now, where it becomes basically something different. Because the way that it's working right now, good cops, but if good cops stand by while this stuff happens, or if good cops, because I know that there are cops out there who do report this stuff, and they're like, hey, this is wrong. And then, like, I almost called you something that is not your name. I am so. Raiden said, they get fired or they get let go. And that's bad. But if good cops don't do anything, and if good cops know about these people, because a lot of the times when these people, like, shoot someone or you do one, people aren't surprised. Like, they knew that there was something off about them, and they still let them go, and they still let them do these things. And that's a problem, because you can only be as good or as righteous as the system that you're stuck in, at least in my opinion.
Right.
Like, I believe in the good of individuals, but when you put a bunch of individuals in the system, I don't care if one of them is Mother Teresa, and also she was also problematic, let's be real, but we don't gotta get into that, because it's, like, Catholicism and, like, a lot of... Anyway, like, it kind of cancels it out, because it doesn't matter if you have a few good people if a majority of them know that something wrong is happening and they don't do anything.
Right. Right. And
I'm glad to say... Sorry.
Oh, no, it's alright. I was gonna say that I think a lot of it ties back to fear. In the most part. It's something that affects a lot of people. Fear of, calling each other out, or fear of standing up because of what other people think, or, fear of something that they're not used to. And it's not good, but
there's historical precedence that says that authoritarian ideology is driven by fear, and, like, that makes sense. Just that, like, if you are afraid, then you want somebody to protect you. But it should be clear to anybody paying attention that authoritarianism is itself something to fear, and you can't rely on fear to get rid of fear, if that makes sense.
Right.
It does.
Going down for that, my earlier statement, I said I was talking about the National Center for Women in Policing.
Mm-hmm.
They released a study that said that 40% of families with a police officer experience domestic abuse. Not necessarily from the officer, but they experience it within the family, and so there's strong enough precedence that violence that they're taught in the office carries home and isn't something that they can just turn off for peaceful protesters or something along those lines, or for people who they don't know are a threat. The next article is you were talking about the officer who who was charged, Chauvin, how he had a history. I just wanted to go into that a little bit more and say that Amy Klobuchar actually was the prosecutor at the time that decided not to press charges on him for killing a Native American man, and instead send him to what's it called? Hold on, it's probably in the to send him to a grand jury, I think. It was a system that incredibly favored police, and so when he killed a Native American man, Amy Klobuchar basically let him off the hook as a prosecutor, which is problematic, obviously. And lastly, I wanted to talk about qualified immunity, which basically says that unless the police have violated your rights in what the Supreme Court has already said is exactly a rights violation, lower courts are required to rule in favor of the officers unless the case is almost exactly the same. So, for example, like if you were standing and the last victim of police brutality was sitting down, then you would lose in court, basically. Yeah, and then unless anybody has anything to add to that, Sage, if you wanted to talk about the confessions of the former, I don't know if we can say that on stream, cop.
That article is really, it was a really interesting read, and I think I would recommend it for.
Is it the one that you linked?
Yeah. 1 second. Someone is knocking on my.
Actually, haven't. So that is the.
Yeah, before. It's basically a man who other cop who had beaten a kid and asked him he basically beat the kid and asked him what should we charge him for, and then the guy writing the article said, I don't know, what did he do? And the guy who beat the kid said he insulted me, I think. I
can pull it up, yeah.
Yeah, you can pull it up. Either way, he did something basically like he looked at that after a lot of discussion. The kid could go. The officer who assaulted the man asked the author to write a report to help him get out of trouble, basically. But he didn't do that. He wrote an honest report about how he had assaulted a man. The police chief tried to talk him out of it, talking about how the kid was a crappy kid and needed to be punished and it was eventually made it to superiors where there was no investigation, and the author was since being fired. He had joined the ACAB movement, All Cops Are Bad, and was saying that you cannot be a good cop and be in the because you will be fired, humiliated, you will be there's no way you can last within the police department as a police officer if you have good intentions.
Man.
And regardless, this is just one experience. It's not an all-encompassing truth, but it is an experience within the police department that should be taken account.
Regardless, it is an experience that did happen. Therefore, it was true and horrible. Right. I have put every single link that has been in our chat into the actual chat. for articles. Like like you guys said, they're good reads. I should look through some of these. I haven't seen all these. But.
And I'll add just, this is not the opinion of Thespianatics as a whole, but my personal opinion is that the police department cannot be reformed and that it needs to be replaced.
And you are free to speak out your opinion, Raiden. It's completely fine.
Cool. Like as Imani was saying, it's not a system that is like it was a system that was created to hurt people of color and protect capital, which I guess she didn't get into the protect capital part, but it was very much an institution that was created to protect those in power from those who were not, and to uphold a system that is at its core structured to protect hierarchy is not something that I don't think can ever be reformed as a government institution.
Didn't you say before that, was it Minneapolis or Minnesota that is completely renewing their police system? Or building it from the ground up?
Yeah, where George Floyd was shot, they have decided to do that. I put the article in there.
Perfect. Okie dokie. I don't have much else to add myself. You guys, especially Raiden, he spends a lot of his time researching this stuff. Really respect him for that. Taking the time.
All left tubers must.
And
if you are a breadist, you have to.
So I really appreciate Raiden you being on this stream, because you have a lot to say and I absolutely respect that.
Yeah.
I just I hope not to take over the conversation, but yeah, there's a lot that needs to be said.
It's great. You have a voice and you have things to say, and honestly, it's very valid right now. I don't have much else to say other than it's all about supporting right now, and if you guys want to look at the links, by all means, please. I know a lot of the stuff that's happening is scary, but even small things do help. We have the petitions and donation links in the description. 5 minutes, you can look through them. Anything will help. And then we have all of the links that I just put in the chat for you guys to look at. All great articles with lots of information you guys can look at and research. Before we move on to some more scheduled stuff, is there anything else you want to discuss? Sage?
I just have one comment that, in this time, it's important to protest and use your voice, but also you need to find time to take care of yourself and take care of your mental health so that your voice is stronger and it is easier for you to show support. So make sure to find a balance between supporting and taking care of yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, so you don't burn yourself out.
That's
fine.
I'm honestly a little burned out myself. It's
okay.
There's been a lot, so I apologize if I'm quiet during the stream, but I'm so grateful for you guys.
Do we want to do protest tips, or do we want to move on and come back to that, or do we want to avoid that?
I can go over the first article I had pulled up that I wanted to share, and then we can go into protest tips. I think that's a great thing to go over. Let's get some scheduled things out of the way, though, so we can get right back into discussion. And I hope it's not too boring, but because we are a theater company, we wanted to include some theater in here. We were discussing before stream, and we've got some very nice articles that I have pulled up about Black theater history. I think it'll be a nice read. It's always nice to learn, honestly. About this, let me put it up on the. Get some education in here. It'll be nice educational read, and we had to put theater in here somewhere. But even if it's not the main focus of the stream. Let me adjust. I'm adjusting.
And obviously we can talk about this later, but it might be a good idea to do some to talk about some monologues or some theater in relation to this, because there's a lot of good speeches and monologues that we can do.
Oh, yeah. If you guys have some, go ahead and pull those up. Actually, this is not what I wanted to put on the stream. Let's put...
I have some ideas, but the thing is, a lot of the speeches I have are like done by Black characters or like non-white characters, and I don't know how I feel about like non-white people doing stuff from like Raisin in the Sun or something. But that could just be a me thing. I mean, they're also like, you could look at I think a thing that's been helping like a lot of different people is looking at protest music from all over the place. Like, if you want some good, you can also look at like protest pieces, because another country that has a huge history of protest and of art that's born out of their protest is Ireland. And like a lot of the stuff that they're saying about the British is like very similar to the things that people would say now. Not saying that, not trying to make that whole like, oh yeah, the Irish went through and they were white. Nope, that's not what I'm trying to say right now. But like, they have a really long and proud history. Like, if like in the case of monologues and like performing this stuff, like if you want to do it in an audition, like they also don't sleep on the Irish because they have some cool stuff. Not the same, but still pretty cool and has a similar gist to it.
The Irish were not really considered white up until the mid-1900s, so it's not to say, like, you can't really make the argument that white people went through that, because they weren't white at the time, according to all cultural and social norms.
Well, yeah, I agree. It's just when you get into that, then you start getting into trying to define whiteness, and the whole concept of whiteness is a very, very modern definition that keeps changing, and it's also it is recessive in the way that we look at it when it comes to cultures, because say if I marry a white dude and have kids, my kids won't be white. Like, no, they would be half white genetically, but no one would consider them white
Nowadays, but
nowadays, true. Hey, depend would be considered white, or if you're in South Africa, or even in like my mom, she does this thing. I really wish she wouldn't do it, but in Tanzania, when you have a mixed person, you call them half caste because they had a caste system. And so like black people and Indians were on the bottom, and then you had the mixed people, and then you had the British and the Germans, and so they call them half caste. But like the whole standard of whiteness is a very long interesting discussion, but like it's a lot.
I heard an interesting argument that whiteness was basically just the lack of racial oppression. It's not even as much a racial group as a lack of a racial group.
I could kind of believe that. That could kind of work. But then, I mean, yeah, I think that would apply to like a Western standpoint. It's just the thing is, Then you have to get into what is the West, and then I don't have the time, so I'll probably just link the ContraPoints video in the bio because it's a great video. But like the whole concept of it's some of that like highbrow esoteric, like it's a very interesting topic. I'm just worried about like getting sidetracked. Not trying to like cut you off or anything, because I could talk about this for days.
Oh no, it's fine.
Because it's a very interesting topic.
You guys are
I
fine.
feel you. I'm mostly.
I'm struggling. I'm having technical issues right now
With what?
with
Sorry.
pulling up the freaking article. My computer. This
I'm
is what I
sorry.
This is what happens when I don't restart it for a couple days.
You want me to pull it up? If you send the link to me, I can pull it up, and then you can do all the talking, and I'll just scroll when you tell me.
Oh, I lost it. I had to exit out of the link.
Okay.
Give me a second. I can look it up again.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to like go off into that subject super deep as much as I was trying to fill.
Oh, I know.
Pulled up.
I mean, it's a cool discussion, seeing how whiteness, because I think another thing, so I don't remember if Philosophy Tube said this. I know it was a bread tuber, but I can't remember who. No, I think it was Points, was when her video about the West, she was talking about different pillars of what makes something Western and how they're together, like Enlightenment thinking doesn't really coincide with Christian values, and how people talk about Judeo-Christian values when in reality, when have Christians historically been nice or like accommodating of Jewish people? Like, and then now they're like, oh yeah, but we're kind of the same for some reason now because the 40s. But she was, and the West is like Romance languages, predominantly Christian or predominantly and different types of demographics. And she said, oh yeah, what I just described was South America. But like, because of the color of their skin, they're not considered part of the West. Because the West is a very white idea. It's an idea I also hate a lot, because I think the West would not be anywhere if Islam was not a thing, let's be honest, because how are you going to get your Enlightenment thinking without Thomas Aquinas? And how is Thomas Aquinas going to get it without the Islamic Golden Age, when they were discovering algebra and like empirical thinking and empiricism and stuff like that? Like, it's just, when you get into like this whole thing is just a whole mess of like, I didn't make it.
Alright. I got the article pulled up. Maybe I should attempt to share my screen so you guys can see it. And my computer is going wonky again. Nice. I love my computer right now. It's the perfect time to start acting up. Okay. Is it work? You guys are not.
So are you there? Well,
Alright,
that's
okay,
going
there
on.
we go. I love my computer acting up right now. Okay. Sorry if the articles, or if me reading articles to you guys is boring. I thought it would be appropriate under Thespianatics. Ignore the ads it's giving me. That was for something I was looking up earlier. Okay. So this is actually from Playbill, and I'm going to give credit to them because credit where credit is due. This is from a Playbill article I found. They actually posted this in 2015 for Black History Month. And this is in honor of Black History Month. Playbill.com offers a look at important moments and works with regard to African Americans in the history of theater. He thought it would be a fun, educational read. Well, I'll just read a bit of it, sort of read through it, and then we'll get back into some discussions, because I know that's what's important. But we had to put theater in here somewhere. So it starts. Yes?
About
You're cutting out, Raiden.
I've been material takes as
You completely cut out. Sorry, what? What'd you say? Can you guys hear me?
You're cutting in and out quite a bit, Issa.
Can you hear me now? No.
Oh, we're getting video.
Yep.
Oh, you're now just getting the video. Can you hear me? Hello? Sorry, guys. Can you hear me at all? Can you? Nope. Hello?
Are we going?
Can you hear me?
Did you send me the link?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
In and out.
Mm-hmm.
It is very laggy for me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh. Is it working now?
Yeah. In and out.
Is it working?
Sort of, not entirely. You keep cutting in and out. That's the problem.
Well, can you hear me now?
Here.
Can you guys hear me at all? Right now? I can't hear you guys, so I can't get confirmation. No, that's not the issue, Raiden. The issue is just that Discord is not working. Oh. You mean as I read it, you stream it from your side? Because I'm sure the stream can see it. Oh my gosh. Can you guys hear me? Right now, as I'm speaking. No, apparently not.
I heard the word speaking.
Jesus.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, sorry guys. This is fun to watch. Let's see. Can you hear me at all?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Guys? No?
You're cutting in and out still.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You guys are cutting in and out too.
Oh,
Can you hear me now? Is that better at all?
Yeah, you
I think.
Up.
No, I think it's that your computer isn't going to be able to load it at the same time. So if you, since you have the article, the link, and then just stop streaming.
Okay, let me try.
Might be.
My computer's getting very
And then
old too.
you can send it to me, and I'll let you do you all whatnot. I'll just scroll.
Yeah. Come on. Oh. Now it shows up. Wait.
Can everybody see mine?
Yeah, I can see it.
Can you stop?
I think we've got it. Okay. So this is the article I found from Playbill. Now that we're back on track here. It's
What did you say? Oh, there's...
I said this is an article I found from Playbill. Can you guys hear me? No. Apparently again. Never works. My computer is absolutely horrific too. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Glitch in and out really fast.
Whoops. How about now? Is it better? No? Can you hear me? Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I got you.
Whew.
Alright, Issa, you're all go.
Okay. Oh man, I can't.
If you click on, yeah.
Okay. So, this is the article I found from Playbill. That'd be nice read, educational read. So, says in February is Black History Month, and as the nation takes time out to reflect on the accomplishments that African Americans have achieved, this was posted in 2015 for the Black History Month. Black artists have made on Broadway help tell the story. Click through. Okay. All right. So on number 1 we have Bert Williams in Ziegfeld Follies in 1910. Bert Williams had his success when he teamed up with George Walker in 1895, a comic act that pitted Walker's fast-talking city slicker against Williams' slow-moving country bumpkin. Interesting. Tall and light-skinned Williams always put on a traditional blackface makeup that all minstrels wore. Great. He said it helped him get into character and would wear it through his career. This is not what I thought it was going to be. But the wit and dignity he brought to his performances made both blacks and whites appreciate his character as a funny everyman instead of just a crude caricature. By 1903, Williams and Walker were starring in Dahomey, the first all-black musical comedy to play in major Broadway theater. But after Walker fell ill from syphilis in 1909, he would die 2 years later. Florence Ziegfeld invited Williams to be the headliner in his Follies of 1910, making him the first black to perform on Broadway as an equal alongside whites. Although he formed close relationships with such co-stars as W.C. Fields and Will Rogers, Williams was still forced to stay home when other Follies performers traveled across the segregated South. So yeah, apparently, well, I think a lot of people already knew that about how at first in stuff like theater and shows, people of color were portrayed very differently. That's interesting. We've had...
Hello, sorry I'm late to the party.
Oh, hey, Marissa. Good for you to join us.
I just got home from work.
Hello, Marissa.
Hey.
Who just said that?
It was me. Hello.
Oh, well, I was like, which voice?
We've got Marissa
It's
on
just me.
stream here. I'm reading some Playbill article for Black History in theater. That'd be a nice, appropriate read to put some theater into the stream. And then we're going to go back into some discussion.
Resource recently, I can pull it up on my screen. It's called the Broadway Abolition, and they have an online pledge that you can sign.
What?
Hello? Am I still here?
Yes.
We've been having some audio issues, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of not good.
Can you hear me? No, apparently not.
Yeah, so it's called the Broadway Advocacy Coalition.
What is it? Oh gosh.
Here I am.
Frickin'.
And there's an online pledge that you can sign. I signed it, and y'all should too.
I'm sorry. What is it, Marissa?
Here, I'll put it in the chat.
Broadway Advocacy Group.
Coalition.
Sorry.
Here, I just put it in the chat. And they have a bunch of different resources to the theater community.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, we'll do that next. I'm in the middle of reading this article, unless it's too boring.
Okay.
But thank you for putting that in. We have, let's see. So we just learned about Bert Williams in Ziegfeld Follies in 1910. Then we've got 1920, Charles Gilpin in The Emperor's Jones. With a few rare exceptions, black roles in dramatic plays on Broadway had been performed by white actors, we discussed earlier, who used burnt cork or grease paint to make themselves appear darker, but in 1919, that sounds very, very painful to, like, get off. Produced William H. Harris Jr. hired the African-American actor Charles S. Gilpin to play a character based on the black abolitionist Frederick Douglass in the play Abraham Lincoln. Gilpin's performance, honed during his years in small black companies, including as director of Harlem's celebrated Lafayette Players.
Abolitionist.
Huh? Yes, abolitionist. Lafayette Players convinced Eugene O'Neill to cast him in the title role of Emperor Jones, making Gilpin the first black man to lead an integrated cast on The Great White Way. Can you guys tell I'm tired? His portrayal of Brutus Jones, an escapee from American prison who becomes such a what is that word?
Sorry, what word are you on?
Despotic? Despotic. I've never actually heard that word. Despotic ruler.
Yeah, despotic ruler.
Despotic ruler of the West Indian island that the natives rise up against him, has hailed by Citrus, but the actors dispute with O'Neill over the repeated use of the N-word in the play, and his ongoing drinking problem caused him to be replaced in London production. By Paul Robinson. Interesting. Alright, I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly. Shuffle along, 1921. There's Porgy and Bess in 1935. We've got Raisin in the Sun.
Which is an opera, not a musical.
Raisin in the Sun? Or Porgy and Bess?
No, well, it's Raisin in the Sun is also probably an opera because everything is, but a musical, it's an opera. It's just kind of like you know how Sweeney Todd is considered a musical first and then an operetta. Porgy and Bess is like opera, and then it's also a musical depending on if you got the production, it's a musical, but it's an opera first. I'm sorry, I'm a purist.
That's alright.
Hold on, I might be wrong here, but I thought the difference between opera and musical was that in opera you sang every line of the musical, you didn't sing every
No,
line.
that's not true, because there are a lot of modern operas that love to challenge what an opera is. And even like some like the Magic Flute has dialogue in it, and that one's super old. It's Mozart. He's overrated. He should have died earlier, but that's irrelevant. But no, an opera, it's more about the scale and the type of singing you're doing. Because, like, for example, Jesus Christ Superstar, depending on how you do it, could be considered an opera, even though the style of music is very not what you would think of as an opera. But, like, it's a whole... No, you don't have to speak. You don't have to not speak for it to be considered an opera. Because, like, for example, Akhenaten, which is a great Philip Glass opera that if you have 3 hours to burn your brain out, you should listen to, has a lot of spoken dialogue in, like, 4 different languages. Because they speak in actual ancient Egyptian in that one. And half of it is spoken. There's musicals where they sing the whole thing through, like Les Mis, and it's not an opera. It's just... It really depends.
Okay.
But yes, theory lecture in the middle of this time.
No, it's good. I figured this is getting kind of boring with me just reading this, so I like the discussions. I'm also very distracted by this corner, the video that's playing in the corner of my screen right now. Huh? Anyways, moving on. We've got The Wiz, which was... Sorry. Jeffrey Holder had already been a successful actor, dancer, choreographer, TV pitchman, most famously as 7-Up's Uncola Man. Uncola Man. Interesting. And was working as the costume designer for his disco-era retelling of The Wizard of Oz. When he was asked to take over as director during the show's out-of-town tryout, he recast the principal roles of Dorothy, the girl who lives in Kansas, home for Magical Land of Oz, and the traveling companions she finds there. He also expanded the exuberant approach he'd taken with the costumes to encompass the entire production, but opening night reviews were still tepid. The producer considered closing the show until the TV commercial featuring its signature Ease On Down the Road number and the resultant good word of mouth from those who followed the advice from turned The Wiz into a hit and ran 4 years and won 7 Tonys, claiming top prize for that year's Best Musical. Interesting. I did not know that. I did perform Ease On Down the Road, though, once. In a theater. We've got The Brainy's Black Bottom in 1984, Bringing the Noise from Bringing the Funk, 1996.
Or did that happen, like, just...
Top Dog, Underdog, 2002.
Just now.
Okay, good.
And Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, 2019. Obviously, that's not the end of it. It's still ongoing, but I thought it was an interesting read. Sorry, guys, if I bored you.
wasn't boring. Just wish there weren't so many technical issues, which isn't your fault. It's just technology is stupid.
It really is, and my computer is getting old. It is having issues.
That is A-okay.
Okay, it looks like the stream is fixed.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah, I just pulled it up and it's showing the. Yeah, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Now. Are we at? We're at
Oh, I sort of skimmed through the last few because I'm very afraid I'm boring the heck out of you guys with the article.
So the Wiz. That's what we were talking about. Was the Wiz?
Yeah. I was saying that I learned about the Wiz from a summer camp I was in where I had to sing Ease on Down the Road. That was fun.
Also, just very interesting. Like 100 years sounds like a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time to go from 1910 to 2020. And in 1910, when blackface was still like, you could have a pro-black thing in blackface.
Right. That's what the article seems to suggest. It's but
Unless I'm misinterpreting it, yeah.
No, that was definitely a thing of having pro-black things in blackface. Hell, I mean, if you want to get into another slightly theater-related thing, that's more opera-related, but still a thing, there's a whole scandal that's going on right now at the Met Opera House because there's an opera by, I think it's Verdi, called Othello, based off of the Shakespeare play Othello. It is a play. He makes some choices. Anyway, like, the role of Othello is supposed to be played by a tenor with a voice that is very rare to find in the operatic community. And so what happens is, historically, since this was made in like 1830, they would do it in blackface. And it's a thing that continues to this day. And then people were talking about the Met was like saying, oh, we stand with the protesters. And now they're doing free live streams of their operas, which you should check out because their production value is like, 10 out of 10. And they were talking about being pro-black, and they were like, look, we did a production of Othello, where it was an Italian white actor in blackface. So this is not something that's done. Like, people still do this, and it was very... get why they did it, because it's in opera you call it a fach. It sounds like fuck, but it's not. And it's like the type of voice that you have, and the type of voice you need for that's really rare. And they don't want to make it an all-white cast of Othello, even though you can do that if you just, like, I've seen race-switched Othello, and it works fine. Like, Patrick Stewart did it with an all-black cast, and it was great. But that takes a lot of work. So
Also,
they just put the actor in blackface.
Imani, I also saw that, yes, that the Met is, like, supporting, like, everything going on, but also they've never had a black composer.
No. Like, opera, which... theater and opera, like, kind of were born out of each other, but, like, when you look... like, theater... I know, like, theater's known for being really progressive, and opera is not. I mean, it's getting more progressive, but it isn't. And when I was talking to Issa about even, like, doing this thing about talking about theater and different black contributions to theater, I could think of several different plays that were like written that are about black issues, but I had no idea if they were written by black people. And that's like a huge thing. I mean, it's not good, and it's something that it's getting better with time. Somewhere in South Africa, they just had their first black female not composer. I need to find her because she has such impeccable fashion. But it was on the Met website. If you look up South African female conductor, she had her first black female conductor in South Africa with I'm gonna find it, with an all-black orchestra. And they were doing really well for themselves, and I was really happy because you don't really see a lot of representation in opera for black people unless we're doing something horrifically offensive, which is really sad. Or even operas that have black people in them, like Aida, which is now a musical, which is also great, is very rarely played by a black woman, which is really bad because Aida takes place in Egypt, and Egyptians are also black. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But everyone is white. And it's really, and I can kind of get why, because it's so old, but it's still kind of disheartening that it takes so long for things to change, but opera is like famed for being really racist, and that's like kind of not going away unless you change a lot of stuff, and you just have to like get used to it.
I will say though, the link that Marissa just put in the group chat is great. I completely agree that it's kind of like another petition that I will put a link into the chat for.
It's a pledge, and they've like live streams and like hosting resources. I know that they did like a 3-day like where there was like a live each night with like a different like theme around it. I wasn't able to attend, but hopefully they'll do more in the future.
It's saying to like make the Broadway community a better place, right? That's what I read.
Yeah.
And I think that is fantastic. It's things like that really help. And again, for those of you guys who are coming in, welcome. It's very important. We put a lot of links in the chat that you guys can view. There are articles, petitions, that you guys can view for different movements. And in the link of the description, there is the Black Lives Matters card link, and it'll bring you to a bunch of petitions and donation links that you can view for yourself. Yeah, I'm done with the article. It takes 5 minutes. Just look through them. Anything helps, even if you don't have the money. There are petitions that you can sign your name for. So
Also, I can put a link in the chat as well, and then like you can post it. There's several playlists on YouTube right now of videos where all the money is going to Black Lives Matter. So you don't even have to watch, or like you don't even have to donate. You can just watch videos.
That'd be great.
And all the
That would be great if you could put that in the chat. That'd be awesome. Alright, let's see. Still no questions so far, so we're gonna keep going. We're gonna go back into our discussions. Raiden, you wanted to list some protest tips.
I can go off if you want me to go off.
You can
right.
go off as much as going off appropriately under a theater brand live stream can be.
Cool. Doing that right now.
Uh-oh.
Make sure to cover any identifying features. Make sure to cover, that means tattoos, have a face mask. Make sure to do all of that because they will use that to make you a target if you are anything but in all black. And so try and wear a face mask, try and do all that. If you are a white person going to these protests, you are there to protect and stand in solidarity with black people. You are not there to take attention. You are there to make sure that you are the line of defense in between the police and the black people, because they will not attack you, but they will attack black people for not committing a crime. So stand there in that line of defense. Second of all, next, make sure to have milk of magnesium on you or something similar to make sure that you are able to withstand tear gas. Metal signs are really good for protecting you from rubber bullets. Do not stampede if you are being attacked. Make sure to get away from danger and then walk. Those stampedes can cause almost as much damage as the rubber bullets and whatnot themselves. I'm missing something big. Turn off location services on your phone because the police have been using them to track protesters and to trap them into places, and so that they can't leave. And
also turn off your. Don't use your fingerprint. Don't use facial recognition. Turn off your location. Replace your password with a 6-digit PIN number, because they can't really force you to open. They can't force you for your PIN, but they can force you for your fingerprint and for your face. Bring extra face masks, because now they're starting to throw paint in certain areas and like spray paint in the audience. So then you get it all messed up on your face mask and you remove it, so then they can tear gas you. So also anyone who's talking about CDC, like avoiding how to wash out tear gas, the CDC, like listen to them first. Other than like, I think milk with magnesium works, but also water works. Bring water, bring lots and lots of water.
bring water just to be healthy.
Yeah, that too. And also dehydration. Make sure you have a pair of civilian clothes under what you're wearing, so just in case you have to change out, you aren't easily identifiable. Um what else?
I got another one. Okay.
Rubber bullets can kill you. Even though they are non-lethal, they can still kill you, and they will go for your eyes. So don't be aware of that. Stay in groups. Don't try to split up.
A lot of good.
If you get arrested, know your rights.
Another big one is pay attention to cameras. It is very common that the police will remain peaceful while there are news cameras around, but as soon as the cameras leave, they will start using violent tactics to disperse the protests. And be mindful of the other people there also, especially if you're a white person. Do not make these into a violent thing. Do not make these into do not attack the protesters. I know of, like, early on during these protests, there was one person in one group of protesters who threw a can at an officer, and that was authorization for every officer in the city to start using violent force to clear out the protesters when one can was thrown. So be aware of what you're doing and how it affects the other protesters, and how you're putting other people in danger when you do something like that.
Also, please don't spray paint or vandalize anything if you go out and protest, because you may be well intentioned, and I get like down with the establishment, but black people are gonna get blamed for that, and it's not gonna look good. Don't loot. Like, most of the people who are protesting aren't looting. It's a bunch of looters who are taking advantage of the chaos to be like, let's go destroy some stuff, which is not cute. Don't do that.
No, because they're just gonna blame the protesters, and it's
And I don't know about writing. People were saying write a contact on your arm, like your emergency contact on your arm, but cover your arm, because there have been like, write the phone number on your arm in a pen that doesn't really wash out, but cover it until you need it to be revealed, because they're like, especially Fox News, because we love them. They like zoomed in on someone's arm on purpose that had a number written on it, and that person, the contact number, got a lot of harassment.
Jesus.
And they got doxxed.
That's the other thing. It's very likely that they will take your phone away, and so any contacts you will have to have written down. Write down an emergency contact, write down a family member contact, and write down, if you can't afford bail or you're not likely to afford bail, write down a Freedom Fund contact so that you can be released until trial. And again,
go ahead.
No, you're right.
Like, even if you have this number memorized, still write it down, because if something happens to you, because there have been things that have happened to people, you want them to be able to get a hold of your emergency contacts, even if you can't.
Yep. Also, don't call the ambulance, because they're not coming to help you. And don't call, like, if you need to go to the hospital, like, try to look like you weren't at the protest, because there have been situations, I think it was in Minneapolis, because that place just keeps getting better and better, but, where, and I could be wrong, I really should look this up, there were people trying to get into a hospital for medical care, and the hospital would not let them in. And then there were other times in a different city where they actually started shooting at the people who were trying to get medical attention. And some hospitals will refuse to treat you if you have been protesting. So, like, make up a story, try to find, be nice to the field medics, because they'll be the one who pick you up and give you water and try to help you, like, protect them too, because if they're out, then we're all screwed. Just stay safe.
Yep. Well, good safety tips.
Be wary of people dressed up like there's several times depending on the city, I don't know if they've changed this, of like undercover cops wearing white like wearing white bandanas on their arms and starting like violence within the protests to make it look bad. Also, cops dressed up like Orthodox Jews but badly because they're not doing it right. Like they have little curls but they don't have a beard, and like there's a lot of some of my Jewish followers on Twitter were very they broke it down of like, oh yeah, this is how you point out an actual like Orthodox Jew, and this is how you point out an undercover cop trying to pretend to be one. Stay away from protesters who seem to be like really aggressive, because the chance of them being undercover cops are pretty high. And like, just go with friends, don't go alone. Go with people who have common goals as you. Stay together. Don't call the cop. Well, obviously.
And
And have like a good. Also, know your transit. Know like the bus system and the train system wherever you are, just in case you don't have a car. I would not recommend coming in a car because then they can find out like your license plate, but know your transit, know where everything goes, just in case you need to leave and not be easily identified.
Another couple things for COVID: please wear a face mask.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, use noisemakers instead of yelling. Try and stay 6 feet apart from other groups.
Mm-hmm.
Bring hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Bring hand
And all
sanitizer.
and in terms of what she was talking about with going with a crowd, make sure to have a meeting place within the chaos of everything. It's incredibly likely that you're going to get lost from your crowd. So make sure that you know where to meet each other. Try and make sure that there's somewhere you can go and change if you need to make it look like you weren't there, and then meet somewhere afterwards. All of those things. Make sure that you have a plan of action if things go wrong.
Right.
Also, don't talk about it publicly. Like, don't be on the train talking to people like, oh my goodness, what do you think of the protest? Don't do that.
Just generally stay safe. Just stay safe. There's a lot of danger going on right now. So, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Be wary of COVID-19. All of
and
that.
I posted YouTube links in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah.
We're actually, man, the time went by really fast.
Oh yeah, last thing with the protests. They're not a photo op. They're not they're not a resume builder. They're none of that. They're a legitimate thing that are scary and important to people. Make sure you're there to help the cause and not to increase your own social position or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can tell.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm glad I was able to come join for a little bit.
Me too. You had a lot of great links to share.
Go do the hashtag Broadway for Black Lives Matters pledge. Literally takes like 2 seconds.
Also, the book White Fragility, I can't remember the author's name. I'm gonna link it because it's free right now, and it's like a really great resource if you want to understand like that one. White Fragility and 13th, I would probably recommend. Probably White Fragility first, because White Fragility is written by a white woman, and it's first. I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. My mom and I listened to it, and I'm shocked about how much she got right and how much that she realized was a weird thing. Because I thought that was true for everyone, and I was like, oh wait, that isn't. But that's really good book. A really good book. It's free right now. In like audiobook version. So if you want to get on that, and then also a really good documentary about like police brutality and how this stuff is at the core of the American police system is 13, which is on YouTube for free. It is The ending, okay. Most of it's fine,
No
but
spoilers.
if you have a trigger warning or anything like that, they do at the end of it show a compilation of black men getting gunned down.
Dang.
And that was hard. I can imagine that'd be hard for other people to watch. So warning, it's still worth it, but you can skip that part. It's like 1 minute or 1 hour 37 minutes in.
There's also a movie called Just Mercy that is on that is free right now.
Oh yeah.
I've been reading the book.
There's a bit of echo.
Also, the great thing about the YouTube, you can put it on in like a tab and mute it and just have it on the background while you're doing other stuff on your computer, so it plays and donates money.
The last thing, if that's okay. Hello?
Sorry.
What?
There is an echo. What did you say?
The last thing I want to add, everyone here but Imani is not black, and we all have a privilege in that. And while we are obviously contributing to the discussion, and it's not intelligent or right to like isolate people out of this discussion, no matter who they are, please don't listen to us and listen to black creators, black voices. Listen to them talk about their experiences, talk about their understandings of what's happening. Listen to this group that has not had a voice for a long time and is making big noise right now.
Right. We're just here. What we're doing is we're here to support and to bring attention to those who need it, to support the victims, to support the protests, to support the voices that need to be heard. That's what we're here to do today. So,
Coming up on the end.
we are.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to cover?
Not really. We had some very good discussions, I think, about the bad, about some of the good, all the good things that happened out of the protests. And again, like I said before, if you feel like it's not making a difference because your voice is just a singular one, it really is. There has been a lot of good that has been coming out of all these protests. So
I have.
No, go ahead.
I have one more. For those of you that are over the age of 18, register to vote. I don't care. Register to vote. Use your voice.
If you're in a state where you can pre-register, register early at 16. If you're in a state where you can do literally anything, do it. Like, I'm not trying to say that, like, you have to do something or you're not being good enough for the movement or whatever, but as limited as it is, this country is supposed to be built on the right to self-govern. And if you are not exercising that right, you are living in a system that is just as unfree and unjust as a monarchy or any system where you aren't in control of your own government. To not exercise your right to self-government is to relinquish your freedom, essentially.
Also, petition your state legislators to do mail-in ballots, because they're talking about postponing the election, maybe, because they think that mail-in ballots, which is not true, by the way, this is not true, that mail-in...
Imani, you cut out.
Saying that mail-in... Oh.
Am I here?
You're here. You cut out, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You completely froze.
What's your
mail-in ballots. Petition your state legislators for mail-in ballots because it says it's going to cost like $4 billion for this latest election because of COVID-19. And some people on Trump's cabinet are saying, hey, maybe we can postpone the election for a little bit until this thing is over. But we have no idea when that is. And also, I don't think anyone wants him in office anymore. Like, he's not doing a good job for anyone, really. You're a white supremacist. But, like, and even then, he's disappointing you because he's not delivering on any of the stuff he said he would do. But, like, so petition for mail-in ballots because that's basically the only way that you can vote safely now. Unless, because they talked about, like, CNN had this thing on Wisconsin when they were doing, I think it's not primaries. They're doing, for their Congress members right now, like, voting for Congress, and they had, 296 places you could vote usually. Now there were 5. And people were forcing themselves to go outside and break, like, the social distancing so they could vote. And it even wasn't working because they had lines stretching for, like, blocks. And a lot of people wouldn't get to vote. So petition for those mail-in ballots and send money to the postal service.
I was going to say the same thing happened in Georgia. Like, lines were, like, people were waiting, like, 6+ hours to vote in Georgia for their primary.
Mm-hmm.
That would be helpful.
Also, if, like, early ballot voting, anything that increases ballot access is probably a good idea. That's a little bit more political than I care to, like, be saying as an absolute truth. But on, like, as a basic idea, the ability to vote is incredibly important to our ability to make change.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't do that, then we can't really do anything. So make sure that you're fighting for that right.
Also, yes, especially for my gals out there, it took 100 years for us to be able to vote. Or no. Yeah, it took a really long time.
It took 100 years for white women to be able to vote, and then another 60 for black women, and then 70 for Native Americans, and then, like, it kind of trickled down.
Wow.
But yeah, good point.
Yeah, but women, especially.
Yeah. Also, because I don't think we want a sexist, and, well, we're gonna get a sexist either way, but at least this one's more competent, so, like...
Is he?
We will say he is, okay? I need something nice right now.
We all need something nice right now.
This might be getting too political, so now I'm a little worried. But, like, we're not making any endorsement of any candidates at Thespianatics. Just saying from the crazy on who comes in every once in a while. Biden is not great. But at the same time, I would rather have someone who's falling asleep at the wheel than someone who's trying to drive the car remotely when he can't see the screen or, like, where he is. So, like, let's just go with that and just shut up so we can vote for you, man. Please, just... It's not a good time. But it will be better. Things will always get better.
In this time, which is, as long as we keep putting our voices out there, hopefully we can see some change. And again, I just wanted to end it by saying you'd be surprised how much your voice does make a difference, whether it's for voting or for these protests. So please, 5 minutes, or like Marissa said, you can listen to it in the background or put it on mute as long as it's playing. It's making a difference. All of this helps. All the links I put in the chat. Very great links. Just take your time to view them, and the Black Lives Matters card link. 5 minutes to look at the petitions and the donation links really helps. Oh, goodbye, Raiden. Thank you for coming. You were amazing.
See you, Raiden.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
But you guys have a good time, and we'll see you at the next stream, I believe.